Hey guys, welcome back to another one of my videos, and today I'm going to be doing my first ever coaster review of El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure. So, without further ado, let's get into analyzing the layout and my thoughts on it. So, once you get dispatched, you round a corner and go up the very fast cable lift hill that sounds like nothing. That's how quiet it is. You can basically, there's no clickety clack of the anti-rollbacks like a chain lift. It's basically pure silence. Once you get to the top, you round another 180-degree turn. This time, well, I guess it is also to the left, and you get a really good view of Medusa to your right, and King Dakar and Zumanjaro to your left. And then right before you go down the drop, you can see basically the entire park, like Jersey Devil, Nitro, and all that stuff over there. Alright, so here's where the chaos starts. The first drop. In the back, you get some insanely powerful and sustained ejector airtime. It's probably tied for the strongest airtime on the ride, with like 4 other moments too. So, it just tells you how good this ride is. The pullout has some pretty good positive G's, and then you go up the first camelback, and this camelback also has some incredibly powerful and sustained ejector airtime, about on par with the first drop. This is probably the best airtime hill I've ever been on in my life, just because it's sustained as long as the B&M Hyper, but it's powerful ejector. And this pullout here also has some strong positive G's. And then you go up into the second camelback, which is the exact same as the first one. Still amazing, and still has very powerful and sustained ejector airtime. And then you go through another pullout, which is also has a lot of positives. And then you go into the turnaround, which is it's basically just a fast turn with a decent pop-up floater on the ascent for people in the front. And you have some laterals from the banking, but the laterals are very, very weak. And the pullout also has some decent positives. It's not quite as strong as the first 2 pullouts. Up to this point, El Toro has done nothing wrong. It has great sustained ejector airtime, crazy stomach dropping feelings, and great positive G's. But from here, El Toro kind of dials back the intensity a lot, but don't worry, that will pick back up later. So then El Toro goes into a twisted hill, and if you're not in the back 2 cars, you will not get any airtime over this hill, so it's pretty much just a dud. But in the back 2 cars, you do get some decent sustained floater on the descent, and the pullout only has some okay positives this time, but they're much less intense than the first 3 pullouts. And then you go into a speed hill, and the airtime here is about on par with the hill right before it, but the airtime is a little more sustained. It's about as sustained as Mako's speed hill, but it's a lot weaker in power. It's about on par with the first camelback on Nitro across the park. And now El Toro starts to pick up the intensity a lot again. So you go around another left 180-degree turn that seemingly has random head choppers and great positives. And then you go into probably the most famous element on El Toro, the Rolling Thunder Hill. And just thinking about it now, I lied when I said that the first drop was tied with this hill. This hill is absolutely insane. I think it pulls negative 2 Gs. Which is absolutely insane, as I just said. You get absolutely launched to the moon. If you didn't have a restraint, you would probably be as high as King Dakar. That's how powerful this hill is. And then you also get some good positives on the pullout, and then you go into the twister section. And the first part of the twister section has some flat S-hills, kind of like Maverick or Terminator 305, but not quite as intense. The switchbacks give decent laterals and some okay positive G's when you're going through them. but the positives are pretty sustained too. And you also get a tad bit of weightlessness on the on the transitions from S bend to S bend, and then you round a 180-degree turn and into a switchback hill. This hill also gives some decent floater airtime, and from here El Toro is basically over. It rounds a forceless bump and a pop into the brake run, and the brake run gives an insanely weak dose of floater if you're in the front. So El Toro finishes with the whimper, but the elements that do hit better than any other coaster that I've ridden, in my opinion. So that's the ultimate experience of El Toro. So how would I rate the smoothness? And I have not ridden El Toro since before both incidents. So I rode it on June 16th of 2021. So it probably hasn't done retracking in a little bit, because when I rode it, it had a persistent rattle throughout the entire ride, but it wasn't unbearable. The rattle is pretty comparable to the slight rattle on Hulk, or like about 50% smoother than Hydra the Revenge, just for comparison. And El Toro's pacing is pretty much perfect. It hauls through the beginning until the last dip into the brake run. So, the $1 million question: what would I rate El Toro? I would give El Toro's ride experience a 9.5 out of 10. This ride is pretty much perfect because it has sustained ejector airtime, decent laterals, crushing, well, not necessarily crushing, but powerful positive G-forces, which you really don't find on a wooden coaster, and also has really long trains, which really help too. But I do take off a half a point because it is not consistent in some elements, only deliver weak floater, and I would like the entire ride to deliver powerful ejector. There's only really one other ride that I would rate 10 out of 10 to, but you're gonna have to wait until my top 20 coasters in about a week from now that I'll be releasing. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed my review on El Toro. Make sure you check out my other videos on this channel, such as my prediction on Top Girl Dragster, or my top 10 rides at Playland's Castaway Cove. Alright, see you on the next one.